What's up, guys? We're here with Jason Manley, Cesar Gracie black belt, one of the best minds in the game when it comes to jiu-jitsu, and more to the point of this interview, Marvin Vettori's jiu-jitsu coach, and we're during it's fight week at UFC 286. So first of all, Jason, thanks a lot for doing this, especially in fight week.
Thank you guys for having me. My pleasure.
And we wanted to ask you, wanted to start right from there. A sort of $1 million question has been floating around among Italian MMA fans over the last few weeks since the fight has been announced. And it's we introduced you as his jiu-jitsu coach, but also, are you going to be his head coach? And who's going to be in Marvin's corner against Roman Dolidze at UFC 286? If you can tell, of course.
Yeah. So again, so in his corners, me, Dewey Cooper, and I'm sure you guys know Emanuele Lochner.
Yeah, of course.
Are
Yes,
yeah.
of course.
So we're all in his corner. I don't really me and Dewey Cooper and Emanuele, we all work very well together. We've worked together with other fighters, me and Dewey specifically. So we don't really have the need to specify head coach, this coach, or that coach. We're all just here, for the best interest of Marvin, and doing whatever we can do to make sure that he's improving and he's prepared for the fight. So we don't make any distinctions between head coach and assistant coach or anything of that sort. We're both just here we're all here just to make sure our fighters get better and that they keep on winning.
Of course. And we asked also because we thought that was going to be the corner for a few weeks, but then we saw that Dewey was in Paris and then went maybe back home in Vegas. And so we didn't know whether he was going to be actually there for the fight in London.
Oh no, he'll be here. Yeah, Dewey will be here for sure. So yeah, Marvin's been working with him. As soon as he touched down in Vegas, he was working with him and doing a lot of great work. So yeah, he'll definitely be here. He had one of his boxers, Carlos Takam, was fighting for a title, I believe, and won. So yeah, he was taking care of that, and then he'll be here. I think he's here tomorrow. So yeah, he'll be here with us for fight week and ready for the fight Saturday.
Awesome.
Busy life of the MMA coach,
Yeah,
I can say.
exactly. Right. Lots of travel, lots of work,
Okay, we saw you are there since last week probably, and as usual when it comes to the fight week, you take your time to arrive, manage the situation, manage the city even, and we wanted to ask, how do you personally think this matchup with the Georgian Roman Dolidze works for Marvin?
Yeah, so Roman actually is a friend of mine. Me and Roman trained together a decent amount. I met Roman at Extreme Couture maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And we haven't trained together a ton, but we've trained together a decent amount. He's a great guy. If it were anyone other than Marvin or one of the other guys, I wouldn't feel comfortable, cornering against him. But me and Marvin.
Yes.
Me and Marvin go way back. Started this kind of journey together since the Venator days. So whoever he was fighting, I had to be there with him. So I think it's a great matchup. For the fans specifically, I think it's an amazing matchup. Like, if I didn't know either of these guys, personally, and just from watching them fight, this is a matchup that I would want to see. So I think it's great matchmaking by the UFC. And as far as Marvin's skill set, I think Marvin has the skill set that people see in the fights that they've seen. Most notably recently in fights, over the last couple of years. But I also think he has a skill set that people haven't seen, that he hasn't shown yet. And I think that skill set is going to play very well for him in this fight. So I think it's a great matchup for him.
As you mentioned, of course, Marvin just switched camps. As we know, he was over at King's MMA before. Now Extreme Couture also works a lot at the PI. We can imagine, of course, that maybe you were a huge part, we even say, of his reason to switch to that specific gym and to Vegas specifically.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys know, but you know, I think maybe a lot of people in the States don't know that, you know, me and Marvin worked together, you know, before he was in the UFC, when he was fighting for Venator, and, you know, early in the UFC days, we would work together. While he was training at King's, we grappled, yeah, for those early fights, often. So, yeah, I definitely had a lot to do with that switch. You know, just I think Marvin, you know, specifically, you know, if anybody knows Marvin, you know, definitely, you know, thinks for himself. But I think, you know, the ideas he had for kind of improving and switching up things, for his game, kind of, you know, aligned with mine. And it wasn't something that just happened overnight. It was kind of one of those things that we had, you know, we had discussed, you know, a bit over time when he'd come out to Vegas and visit, or when I was in California, you know, we would talk. And I think even after his fight, you know, during fight week when he fought Paulo Costa, we kind of were discussing some of that stuff too. And then, you know, Edmund Shabazian, one of the other guys that trains with me and with Marvin, you know, he made the move about a year ago, a little over a year ago, to Vegas. And you know, him and Marvin are great training partners. They get along very well. They're good friends. So I think, you know, I think when he made the move, I think it made it a little bit easier also for Marvin to kind of make the move. California is a hard place to move from. You know, you live in Orange County, California, you know, which is, you know, where I lived, you know, prior to making the switch, and you live in Los Angeles. It's very difficult to move anywhere else in the world, you know. But I think Marvin, you know, saw what we were doing there, and kind of, you know, the setup. And he made a lot of trips too prior to that, where he'd come out, you know, for a week or two and train, and then finally made the full-time switch. So I think it's a great switch, you know, not just for the training and for what we're doing there, but just, you know, sometimes in life in general, it's good to kind of change things up. You know, things get stagnant, you get kind of complacent or bored with the same scene. So I think it was a good move for him for sure. As friends in general, you know, that's kind of how, you know, how we met at Venator when I think it was Venator 3. So Venator 3? No, maybe Venator 2 in Bologna, I believe it was. I don't remember. That might have been 2. But yeah, we met there, you know, cutting weight. You know, I had Rachel Cummins there fighting, and you know, we were all in the weight in the sauna. Dr. Capo, Matteo, Marvin and I, you know, all cutting weight, and just, you know, we kind of, you know, we stuck around Italy a little extra after the fights, and, you know, we all kind of became friends. And, you know, eventually that led to them all coming to the States. And you know, Marvin and the guys lived with me for a while, and we trained and got ready for fights, you know. And yeah, that was, you know, when he was still fighting in Venator, and we got good work in, you know. But yeah, the thing is, it's not just a King's MMA or a coaching thing or anything like that. But California in general, from that time to now, has changed a lot in the MMA scene. You know, back then, I want to say maybe that was around 2015.
Yes.
There were a lot of MMA gyms. There were a lot of great MMA gyms and a lot of high-level fighters there, a lot of top-level UFC fighters. And that kind of changed a lot. I think a lot of that has to do with the cost of living in California. You know, if you're from California, you don't really notice it. But other people who are not from California and they're coming there, it can be very expensive, you know. So I think that that whole scene kind of fizzled out, you know, after a while. Now, you know, there's just not, even if, you know, you have great coaching there in California, there are great coaches there, but, you know, a lot of them just don't have the bodies. So they'll have, you know, they might have 1 or 2 top guys, you know, but they're in completely different weight classes. They can't train, you know, well together. So a lot of the you know, a lot of the influx of talent into Vegas has a lot to do with just the cost of living there. It's very inexpensive, you know, extremely inexpensive compared to California. There's a lot of bodies there. You've got the UFC Performance Institute there. There's just a lot of advantages to being there. So not necessarily just because of coaching and the training situation, which I think is great, but also just the lifestyle, the cost of living, and just the availability of sparring partners makes it a lot easier to be there now.
Here in Italy, we know that the first steps that the Marvin took outside of Italy, pursuing his career, was right in London a lot of years ago. So what I was going to ask, being his coach and prior his friend, do you think that this match this time has something important for Marvin itself, considering that if you want to see it, he's coming back where everything started?
Yeah, I don't think Marvin is a very sentimental guy. And if he does have those feelings, I haven't heard him talk about it at all. But I think for sure there has to be, at least a little bit of you that makes it special, to be back here and fighting and kind of being back where you kind of made your first steps in your MMA career. I think definitely has some significance, but Marvin will fight anywhere. he'll fight at any time. So I think just being back in the cage and fighting again, particularly coming off of a loss, I think is definitely special for him. So I know he's got a lot of friends here. He's got a lot of people that that are excited to see him back here. We did some training sessions at a couple of the places that that he's been before while he was living here. So it's been fun, and looking forward to the crowd that comes out. A lot of Italians here as
Yes,
well.
we know.
So, looking forward to the crowd that comes out Saturday.
Jason, just the last thing, very quick, and then I let you go. I'm not asking for the match because you are at the corner, of course, but as a fan, do you have a prediction for the main event of this card?
I think KAMARU is going to. I think he'll be sharp and focused the entire match, and I think he will probably dominate. I see him mixing up his wrestling and striking, and I see him dominating 5 rounds, if not a finish. But I'll probably lean towards him dominating for 5 rounds.
Thank you again, Jason. You were really, really gentle. Sorry we took the time during the fight week. We know it's very, very busy. And we are going to see you in London.
Yes, I'll be here. Looking forward to meeting you guys.